Hey guys, and welcome to Firearm Friday. This is Friday, August the 25th, 2017. We are broadcasting to you live on the Ghost Tactical YouTube channel, as you may recognize here, which is a little bit weird. And we're simulcasting over on the my channel, the Clover Tac Gun Channels site over there as well. So, if you're wondering why that is, I will give you the short version. Since normally we start out Firearm Friday talking about my week, it started out fairly good, ended up fairly crappy, but ended up having a video. Actually, my Wednesday show get tagged for inappropriate content, which is crazy because that's the youth shooting sports show. There was no violence, no hate speech, no political talk, no anything. And the weird thing about it is today it popped up in one section of my, um, creator studio or whatever there in YouTube under the live event section. And it actually said copyright violation, which is weird. Now, I did have some intro music. And if you watched that, then you remember. And I went back and double checked and verified that. I did pull that from the YouTube library, which is completely copyright free. That's available for creators to use. It's right there in their studio. You go in there, you can get sound effects, music, what have you. So I'm not understanding the copyright thing. And I went through the video and tried to figure out if we said something or showed something that might have been a copyright issue, and didn't see anything. So that's the story. And because, well, let me back up. I have appealed the decision on that, and just waiting to hear back. By all accounts, from my research, both yesterday and today, I think they should clear it up. I mean, it's pretty obvious if human eyes look at that. I haven't violated anything. The community standards are, of course, violence and hate speech, and copyright material, of course, spam, uh, that sort of thing, nudity, vulgarity, so forth and so on. And there's not anything like that. Now, I've had in my creator groups over on YouTube some people that are foreigners that do not live in the United States come down on me a little bit and go, well, it's because it's gun content, and that's just wrong. And it says kids are, you're teaching kids about firearms. And no, because there's tons of content like that on YouTube, and it's been like that on YouTube forever. And there's nothing violent about, showing technique and that sort of thing. Not with some of the other videos that's out there, of course, on YouTube. So that's where we're at now. Start to get some people in. I think I've vamped enough. We've got Big Racer in the house. I see Sarah in the house too. Don't recognize Sarah, so she must be from maybe one of the Ghost Tactical members. So I want to say definitely say hello to her if we haven't talked about her before. Anyway, Big Gunner over there says hey everyone. So a couple of people in the house over on the gun channel side. Night Strike looks like maybe with us, and Ralph and Gary and Dot is with us as well. Ralph says hey. So hey guys. Hopefully we'll fill up. Get a Gary says he's on the YouTube side. He's pulling. He's double dipping tonight, and that's fine. That's what it's there for. Gun Channels is an awesome place to hang out, and a lot of people view it on YouTube because it's easier, especially on mobile. The chat's a little bit better on Gun Channels. Of course, on Gun Channels, everything is embedded in the streams through YouTube anyway, so it's kind of meshed in there. And I want to thank Ghost Tactical, who I believe he's out of town on a little hiatus and offered to let me hijack his channel tonight. Hopefully, we can get things fixed over on the Clover Tac YouTube channel before the shows next week. She says live. Yes, live. Definitely been live. So we got Pants, and then G has jumped in. And in case you're wondering, I'm going to try to go solo, run solo tonight. Talked with G a little bit about this last night. I come into Gun Channels, already had the Firearm Friday show, and it was basically just me. It was a personal conversation. It was me interacting with you guys out there. And, you know, I started taking on guests and other things. And then I added the other shows, the Next Generation show on Wednesday, and then the After Hours show on Thursday. And of course, I take guests on there too. And I would really like to bring this one back to the original format where it's just me, and no offense to any of the guests. I want to continue to have them on. And if we have any topics that I have on deck for the Firearm Friday show that they may have a little more expertise in, then I would like to bring in maybe one guest here and there. But certainly don't. I want to kind of pare it back. Don't want to fill the room up anymore necessarily on Firearm Friday. Gary says he watches on Gun Channels and brings it up on YouTube just long enough to pop out the chat window. Yeah, a lot of people do that. I mean, they use both. They pull double duty. There's a little bit of a delay in the chat on the YouTube side. There's not on the Gun Channel side. And we don't have to worry about this with Ghost's channel here or even my channel, the CloverTac channel. But as they get bigger, that YouTube chat moves really, really fast. It gets cluttered really quick. And the Gun Channel chat seems to stay slow. It's a little easier to catch, for me to catch what you're saying over there. And Pant says his phone doesn't like to play streams on Gun Channels anymore. So, you know, he watches on YouTube and chats on Gun Channels. So yeah, I mean, Gun Channels is a great place. It's a great tool, a great addition. I think we pretty much all agree on that. Yeah, definitely give Ghost Tactical here. Give this video a thumbs up. Let's help him out. Definitely throw a sub his way too for helping out and let me run the show here. Gary says, yeah, all good folks all here. Yes. Definitely on that Gun Channel side there is. And with that, I want to drop a link. This link is actually going to go to the CloverTac channel over on the Gun Channel side. And I'll drop that there in YouTube. But you know, go there, check that out. That's my channel. You can also click once you register, you can click and check out some of the other channels and some of the other stuff going on over there on that site. And then also, before we get started tonight, want to cover my bases here for me. I'll throw this on the YouTube side as well. That next one is going to be the CloverTac channel on YouTube, and that is for any of the newer folks that may have seen. I did promote this like I normally do before I do a live stream. So if we've got any new folks out there, just so they understand this is not my normal channel, and that link will get you to my normal channel. Of course, if you're on the Gun Channel side, you already know this. Looks like we got Alien and the Smiths has popped in over on the Gun Channel side, and Cycle Camp in the house. So awesome. One more thing, or maybe even two, I will mention right quick, if I can get my notepad here to pop up, is VidMe. A lot of us are going over there playing with that platform. May or may not be a viable alternative to anything, may not amount to anything, who knows. But if you're over there or you would like to check that out, then there is the link to get on VidMe. Most all of your favorite channels from here on Gun Channels are over there on VidMe. A lot of us have moved over there, I say moved over there. We haven't moved over there. It's a summer home, I guess. Kind of like the rich guy's house in the Hamptons or whatever over there, maybe. But that seems to be kind of a young platform. Not really a lot of firearm content over there. So the more of us that can bring content, the more of us that come over there and engage in that content. Who knows? I mean, that could be something. And finally, we'll talk about real quick Patreon, which I am on Patreon. I will give a little plug out on my stuff with Patreon. And I noticed that Cycle Camp being in the house, I did see your order. And I won't mention on what that was because Cycle Camp is one of my patrons over there on Patreon. and did a post earlier. It was a sneak peek. It was an exclusive preview, and that's one of the perks of being a patron. So for this weekend, all of you other guys, if you're not a patron, sorry, but I'll let you in on that next week. Grim is in the house. Seeing Grim here. I was waiting on Grim because gun channels and YouTube and all this would not be what it is without Grim. If he's not here, we're lost. He is the glue that binds us all together. There's absolutely no doubt about that. But back to my Patreon real quick. I was looking at a lot of channels. If you're not familiar with Patreon, that's a place where you can go and you can support creators and channels and things of that nature. As a fan or a supporter, whatever you want to call it. They call them patrons. But a lot of the channels have their reward system and there's certain levels of, I guess, patronage is what you call it. They have it really weird because you can go in and you can basically donate or support however much a month that you want to. You could do it for $1, or you could do it for $100, $1,000, $50, $20, whatever. But as a creator, we have the ability to set up these levels in there. And when we set up these levels, we give certain perks for those levels. And one thing that right now I'm kind of priding myself on, and I understand I'm a small channel, is that for the $1, which on my Patreon there is called the practical level. I've got 3 different levels. I've got a $1 level, which is the practical level. And let me pull up real quickly so that I don't lie to anyone, because I find that annoying when people talk about stuff that they don't really know what they're talking about. And I want to make sure that I'm telling you right on the levels, if I can get it to pull up, because I should have already had it up and I didn't. And now my internet is going to be slow, which sucks, but that's okay. We'll get it going here. So for the $1 level over there on my Patreon, which is what I call the practical level, you get all the special access, the sneak peeks, the special videos, anything like that, and you get a Clover Tack sticker. Okay, and grab one of these stickers. These actually are here. And this is what they look like. So pretty cool. And that's for, as little as the $1 patron on those. I want to make sure that anybody that supports me, I'm trying to take care of them as much as possible. And then also, I've got it set for the $1 patrons to where they will be eligible for what I call a first tier drawing. And what's going to happen is you not only set your patron levels on Patreon, but you set your goals as well. So once you reach a certain amount of money or a certain amount of patrons, then these goals kick in. And we're about 36% away from getting to the first goal, which is a tier 1 monthly drawing. And it won't be a huge thing. It'll be, probably up to a $20, $25, maybe $30 item that we'll give away. And all of the patrons will be, will be entered into that. So for just $1, you get a lot of access to a lot of different things. From there, you bump up to the marksman level patron. And that marksman level, keep in mind, as you bump up in level, you get all the perks of the previous level as well. So you're going to have that instant access. You're going to get that sticker. You're going to be entered into that tier 1 drawing. And on the marksman level, that's $5 or more commitment or support. And again, you get the special access. You get the sticker. But you will actually have access once we hit that goal, the next goal, to 2 different. So the second drawing, which will be for marksman level and above, will be a little more expensive item. I'll find a sponsor for that. And it'll probably be maybe, let's say, a $50 to $100 item or something like that. And then also, those are going to have access to the live stream panel. And for that particular level, because I've got working on stickers for the what I call the sticker swag store, and then of course the Spreadshirts store. And you can find all this on clovertac.com, by the way. The link is down below. But there'll be discounts as well for merchandise for those particular members. Then we bump up to the ones, and I don't expect to get a whole lot of these. I actually do have a $5 Marksman member now, and he won't mind me mentioning his name. His name is Bill. So thank you for that, Bill. And the next level is $10 or more. That's the sharpshooter level. So you get everything we mentioned below. And then that's going to get into an extra drawing. So, I mean, if you do that for $10 or more a month, again, once we hit our goals for the Patreon page there, then, you know, in essence, you will be entered into 3 drawings a month for some type of cool little trinket or whatnot. If we build up eventually, you know, I'm not Yankee, I'm not Matt, I'm not one of those guys. So, but if we get to that point, then we can start thinking about, you know, maybe firearms or something of that nature. Who knows? So with that, I kind of want to get off of my my spiel on that, but I wanted to go through that and kind of let you guys know what's going on. Grim's over there, he's smiling. Grim says he likes the Night Strike video. What else we got? Cool. So they're talking about Night Strike's video there. So awesome. So with that, we will get into the topics. And as always with Firearm Friday, the topics can be supplied by you guys. So this is a back and forth conversation. By all means, if there's something that you want to discuss, if there's a question you want to ask, even if it's something that we talked about earlier, kind of the geeky stuff having to do with presenting the content and everything here on the internet, by all means ask it. But I've got a dove hunting trip coming up. It's going to happen here now in, I guess, about 2 weeks. And I haven't done just an awful lot of dove hunting. So I'm going to throw it out. I want to throw it out to some of you guys. I want to know if you bird hunt at all, specifically if you dove hunt. And then I want to deviate, shift gears a little bit, and I want to get into shotguns because I own quite a few shotguns, and I'm just curious. I wonder what the best might be. I know the one I've used, or couple, I should say, that I've used in the past for dove hunting. Just want to kind of get a sense of what everybody uses and what you guys think. And then lastly, I want to deviate into chokes. That's something with dove hunting that I'm really curious about. What chokes you guys use, if any, and I say if any, surely you use something, and to kind of relate that to what I do. So, getting into the bird hunting stuff. Again, I've done very little bird hunting in my life. So this is going to be a learning experience for me, I think. Cycle Camp over on YouTube, he said he's never done any, never hunted any dove. Do you get much meat? Usually he hunts partridge and pheasants. You get the breast, Cycle. That's pretty much, you can kind of stick your thumb up kind of underneath the breast a little bit and peel all that back, and I use some shears, and you kind of clip the wings and pop the breast out, and that goes into a cooler, and the rest goes into a bag to dispose of, use as coyote bait or whatever. And Cycle Camp says, yeah, he usually uses a modified choke for birds. Yeah, I haven't been using anything that constrictive. So he says, okay, similar to other birds. So yeah, the dove that I've hunted in the past, and I don't expect these in a couple of weeks to be any different, or not big, huge birds. They weren't turkey or duck or, you know, anything big like that for sure. Looks like it's fairly quiet over on the gun channel side. So I don't know. Maybe not a lot out there. Cycle Camp says the breasts only. Yeah, and I mean usually you take them, split them, put a jalapeno in them, throw them on the grill. You know, cook pretty easy. Gary says he's never dove hunted, but his dad hunted quail, duck, prairie chicken, and pheasant. Said he hasn't hunted birds since he was 25. I'm going to have to look up a prairie chicken because that's interesting. Cycle says on ducks he uses a full choke. Turkey he uses an extra full choke. Yeah. The bigger the bird, the tighter the choke seems to be the way that it goes. You know, another thing that I need to ask while I'm asking is hunting dove is different than duck and turkey a little bit. And so I'm curious about ammunition too. So if any of you specifically hunt dove, that's something that I'm a little curious about. You know, I've always just used like a 7.5, target / game load, but there may be something better out there. And you know, another thing too is gauge, because like I said, I've got a lot of shotguns at my disposal. I've got over and unders, I've got automatics, I've got pumps, single shot break actions. What else do I got? A lever action probably wouldn't be good. A bolt probably wouldn't necessarily be a good option, I don't think. But you know, in the past, I've taken either an over and an under or a semi-auto. I tend to like the over and under better for some reason. I guess because I'm used to it with shooting sporting clays and skeet and trap and things like that. So I'm comfortable shooting that shotgun. But I've never choked it to modify it. So that may be something that I may look into doing. I've always used light modified, so which is a step down. Cycle Cap says, yeah, he would agree. Would use 6 or 7.5 for dove, probably an over and under. His Remington Peerless is a pretty good gun. He uses this Peerless for trap. So, yeah, that was kind of my take. Now on gauge, we're talking a 12. It's what I've used before. I know a lot of people that hunt dove with a 20. My daughter's all about her 28 gauge, or I should say my baby girl is all about her 28 gauge. So, and that tends to be a pretty good round. I hear tell, have heard from several guys that have told me that especially up north, that a 28 is a really popular bird gun for some reason. Night Strike is saying, check my messages. So, yes, sir, Night Strike. Yeah, let me be a second here, bud. Well, sure. I think maybe Night Strike has something to add to the conversation here. So I don't know. Let's see what he says. He says on gun channels, he likes the 12 gauge. Yeah, I do too. You know, more shot. Cycle Camp says in the Northeast, sometimes a 20 gauge is okay for closer shot. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why I hear a lot of people claiming that they use 28 for bird hunting. I mean, that's a smaller gauge than a 20. Now I know my daughter shoots it well, and I know that it patterns. A 28 patterns unbelievable. I mean, there's just most 28s that I've seen, just beautiful patterns on them. So, and that's something to be said. I mean, if it patterns well, then you got less gaps, you got more shot on target, it's consistently in the same place every time. And that's a big, huge deal when you're shotgunning. He says he has a nice 20 gauge. Cycle Camp does over and under for snowshoes. And I'm guessing snowshoes is some type of bird. I have no clue. So let me know what you mean. I'm assuming that you don't mean in the wintertime you shoot yourself in the foot with it. So, so what's up, Night Strike?
Hey,
What couldn't wait, man?
I wanted to jump in and talk about 12 gauges.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Also, I wanted to get your opinion on something because I was looking at I'm looking at getting another shotgun, and I kind of want a semi-auto, and I want to get your opinion on this one because
Yeah.
I've seen it being advertised on gun.deals and just everywhere. But check this out. Here, I'll link you in the side chat here if you can see that. But
Yeah.
what I do know of that is, yeah, it's imported from China, but it's a semi-auto shotgun for like $139.
You know, we've discussed this before. Any functioning firearm for, $150 or less, who cares, man? But, I mean, you know what? That's cool, man. That is cool. I'm gonna screen share this if you don't mind.
No, go for it.
And,
I think though the only drawback is it's like I think it's like a 3-round magazine.
yeah, because that's a regulation thing with with bird hunting and stuff like that. So it probably so.
I did see they do have you can buy extended magazines, which is like 5 rounds, which
Right.
that's not so bad. I can deal with 5 rounds. So if I did get one of those, I would go and get the extended magazines. But
And that's a SDS imports. That's a SAS 12. It's a cool looking shotgun. I mean, without a doubt, that's a cool looking shotgun. I don't know. I don't know about the whole magazine out the bottom thing, for a bird gun necessarily, but
well, I
that's
wasn't looking specifically for a bird gun. I was just looking for just an overall shotgun,
yeah,
maybe to go hunting with, or maybe just to go play around in the backyard with.
yeah. I mean, it's a cool, and for that price, I would almost buy one of those just to play with it because it looks cool. You know, um, let's do a little homework here on this.
I've only seen 2 videos on YouTube by guys, and overall, the only downside I heard is the extended magazines are a little expensive.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they probably are.
So
Um, so there's SDS imports. Apparently, they handle some Sega looking stuff. They got the CH12 here. Looks like. Let's hit view all. Uh, okay, that's kind of weird because
but I saw that, and they've been having those on sale for a while, and I've been thinking I might go and pick one up.
right.
So
Yeah. I
because
mean, I'm
at
thinking for
$139, yeah, I'm probably gonna have to pay $20 shipping. Like I'll have to pay my FFL fee, which is like $35. So give or take, I'll probably be spending $200 overall.
yeah. What worries me about that? The only thing that would worry me, I should say, about the $140 on a shotgun. I wouldn't be afraid to spend, like I said, $150 or less, pretty much on anything. I'm good with trying it. Um, that's a solid price for a pump shotgun, and your reliability factor probably is going to be a little better on a pump shotgun. Whereas with an automatic, it's an iffy thing. You're going to have the potential for mag issues, the potential for cycling issues, and some other things. Um, the let's see, what is cycle camp? Because I seen he mentioned here. He says he likes semi-autos. He can't use them in several of the New England states. That is right. Um, he says if you don't mind buying from Turkey, the TriStar stuff is nice, and I will agree with that. We've got several kids in the club that shoot competition stuff with TriStar, and um, you know
Eh,
the whole turkey thing. If you can get around that or over that, or you don't mind that, then I mean it's kind of like I agree with
well,
Cycle Count, but it's a good shotgun
it's a
if you
double-edged sword with that. Either I get a Chinese one made by communists, or I get a Turkish gun probably made by terrorists.
But here's the thing with and hashtag I'm not supporting you know turkey here, but
No,
here's the
obviously
thing.
not.
Here's the thing with turkey. And I know this from shooting. We shoot Yildiz, which are their shotguns. They're made in Turkey. Um, there's no over and under shotguns made in the U.S. to my knowledge anymore. If somebody's out there and you know of one, then definitely throw it in the chat and let me know. But a few years back, I actually researched this, and I couldn't find one being made. And um, several of Turkey's made several name brand shotguns over the years, including Mossbergs have came out of Turkey, and the Charles Daly stuff has come out of Turkey. So nowadays, again, the TriStar, which the TriStar is essentially basically a Charles Daly, from what I can understand, just kind of rebranded, redesigned a little bit. So whereas with China, you don't hear of any name brand manufacturers that their stuff is made out of China. So
It's
that
all
would
probably
be
done by Arsenal 26.
probably, and that's that's neither here nor there. I'm not saying anything bad about it. And again, for $150, 140, 139.99, shoot, go for it, man. It's cool looking for that kind of money, if nothing else. I mean, that's my opinion on it.
I like pumps, but I like semi-autos a little bit better. Not because of not for reliability or anything, just because of the factor that, I don't have to rack the pump.
Right. Cycle Cap says that snowshoes are rabbits that he shoots up in Maine. So that's pretty cool. Not to get off of the bird hunting and on the rabbit hunting for sure, but I can remember here in Texas as a kid, and also not to get off onto a big global warming kick either. But I can remember it as a kid. We generally had winters here, and we just hardly don't no more. Now, again, not saying global warming or anything like that, because temperatures and things go through a cycle, and I'm not that old. So back when I was a kid, maybe that was just part of a dip in the cycle. I mean, who knows? But I don't know if that has something to do with it or what, but I can remember rabbit hunting, and we had big rabbit back then, and we just don't anymore. Now, I've also heard tell that fire ants here have hurt a lot of things like that. I know they're really bad for quail and some birds. That's why you don't see as many of them down here in Texas anymore. Gary says up in Kansas, they have to use the plug when bird hunting is restricted to 3 shells. I think that's in most places, Gary. That's the same way here in Texas too. Cycle Camp says it's the same in Connecticut and Massachusetts. So yeah, I think that's pretty standard across the board. They figure 3. If you can't hit it in 3, you need to put it up and go home, I guess. I don't know. And then Gary says his dad taught him using the single shot 12 gauge, and you learn not to waste a shot. And I mean, that's true. You also learn to reload fast if there's a bunch of them coming in. So, but yeah, I think you'd be good. I think you'd be well served with that night strike. I really do. John Z in the house over on the YouTube side.
All right. Well, I'll think about getting it
there. But yeah, cool. Well, it hasn't really helped me make my decision on what I want to use yet.
What do you want to use?
I don't know. I mean, I've used my over and under, and I've got a Stoker 3000 semi-auto.
Wait, you were mentioning American manufacturers. Doesn't what is it? Doesn't the Browning still make over and unders?
Browning's over and unders are made in. I'm trying to remember. I don't think so. I don't think they're made here. I would have to look. I don't remember. Finland, I want to say, or something maybe.
I'll be honest. Even if they're made in Europe, that's still, the Europeans don't make shit.
No, I mean, they don't make shit.
They make good quality. Excuse my language, of course. They make good quality over there in Europe. So I know there's another manufacturer that makes good over and unders in Italy. It's Rosini. Have you heard of them?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They make good over and unders.
Right.
And then there's the powerhouse Beretta. They make everything.
Sure. And I think that probably I think that probably I've taken that over and under 12 gauge, and I've taken, and the thing about it is I got a wide variety of chokes for that over and under 12 gauge. Whereas with my other shotguns, they're either old and they have a fixed choke, or they are, they just got whatever little handful. You get 4 chokes with one, 3 or 4 chokes maybe, or something like that. Rooster says get the old Remington 870 pump 12 gauge mule of a shotgun. Says it carries the load. It's AK-47 of the shotgun world. Easy to clean. Parts are cheap. Easily accessible. Thing never dies.
I
The
wouldn't get a
thing
current
is,
production 870.
I don't like an 870. The only reason I would get an 870, and this is personal preference. By all means, if you love an 870, get an 870. I grew up on Mossberg. I'm a Mossberg guy. But the only reason I would own an 870 is I would have to get one really, really cheap. I'm talking about nice shape for like $100 bill, or a decent buy on like an old prison, like riot shotgun or something like the head, or something of that nature. John Z says a 20 gauge single barrel work. Yeah, yeah. I don't know for Dub. I mean, you've got the potential to have several in front of you at one time. So, with a single barrel, I just don't know. I mean, what's cool is you talk about a single barrel. I've got a very old Marlin break action single barrel it's a long tom. And I don't remember what length barrel it is, but it's like a 30-inch or something barrel. I mean, it's just, you can almost reach out there and knock them in the head. It's so long.
That reminds me of the old Winchester 1897s.
Yeah.
Not the World War I models, but the regular civilian models. The barrels are like 30 inches.
John says doves are so small, so not like you're gonna lose a lot of meat. No, you're really not. There's only so much in that pattern, where however big that pattern might be, that's going to get to him anyway. Cycle Samp says he has a Mossberg 5500 Mark II. It's a sweet 12 gauge. Yeah, they definitely are. I would agree with that.
Yeah, I wouldn't get a Remington 870 just because of the factor that ever since Freedom Group bought Remington, their quality has been going downhill so bad, it's not funny.
Yeah, the newer stuff. I mean, I would agree from Remington.
I mean, if I could get an 870 from like the 80s, then maybe even the early 90s, I wouldn't mind so much. But a current production 870, you don't want.
Yeah. Pants makes a very good point over on the gun channel side. He says, "What? No love for side by sides?" Here's the issue with that, Pants. I own a few side by sides. Most of them are very, very old. So, and I'm talking like turn of the century or something, last century old.
Those are what we call wall pieces.
No, they all fire. And I do take them out and fire them every now and then, but I don't know that I would want to take them on a dove hunting trip where I'm going to put 3, 4, 5 boxes potentially through them in a day. You know what I mean? That's a bit much. I mean, I would put what I normally put through them over the course of several years through them in one afternoon or one morning. And I just don't want to do that. Yeah, I've got a Lefebvre Nitro Special, and I've got several pretty nice old side by sides. Now, one thing that I've looked at and I would buy, is the Stoger. I believe it's a Stoger Condor in a 20 gauge, and I've looked at those several times, side by side in a 20 gauge. I've got a buddy that's got one. It's actually his wife's, but I'm gonna tell you what, it's a nice. He shoots like I don't even remember. He shoots like a Super Black Eagle or some crazy big high dollar shotgun. But his wife shoots a little. I believe it's one of the Stoger Condors or something. Side
those
by
are
side.
nice.
And it's a very nice put together shotgun. Seems to pattern pretty well. So I've looked into them several times, but I'm not going to run out in the next 2 weeks and buy a new shotgun, because I don't do enough bird hunting, and I've already got all the chokes for this 12 gauge anyway, so odds of me using it for any type of a sporting clay purpose or something like that's probably not going to happen. But I think we've nailed it down to probably sticking with the over and under on the dove and leaving the semi-auto for the bigger birds, the ducks and the geese and the things of that nature, most likely.
Let
John
me
Z
ask you
says,
something.
he says they ain't white no more. Blow up racism and kill a dove. Elephant gun works. I should hunt big bird. I should hunt big bird. John, not big bird like the proper noun. I'm not hunting big bird. I'm hunting a big bird. But yeah, I've been duck hunting just a handful of times, less than dove, and then geese once. So, but I would like to go back. I like is that poultry? It would be fowl, wouldn't it? That would be when
Foul.
we're talking duck and birds and things. So I really like
That's
having
foul.
fowl in the. Speaking of fowl, I don't know where Foul Mouth is at. He's not in the. If you're out there in the chat, you better say something because I haven't seen him tonight. But I know we're a little weird with the format, hijacking channels and stuff, which is kind of cool. I gotta say, hijacking channels. So,
Well,
Cyclecamp says he
I've been
likes.
offered to hijack Matt's chat before.
He said Cyclecamp says he likes Carlson chokes. So I'll have to look into Carlson chokes. With chokes, one thing I've run into with, especially with that Yieldies, and I covered this, I think, on one of the Next Generation shows, is that I pretty much got to order everything from a place called Comp and Chokes. So, John Z says, Big Bird from Sesame Street. I see he gets on his nerves. What a creep. Yeah. And he had a weird voice, too, Big Bird did. He was like this whiny, I don't know. I didn't care for it too much. Mel says he has some problems. He cannot live stream anything on his iPhone. So I
There you
could
go.
tell you on that one. So yeah. Mm-hmm.
Since we're talking about shotguns and whatnot, I have a question for you, and it relates to the whole bird hunting stuff as well. You know, I've heard if you want to go bird hunting or and whatnot with a shotgun, you might want to start doing a skeet for practice.
Oh yeah, we do sporting clays, which is even better. But we do sporting clays pretty regular. Got the hurricane coming in, so we won't be doing it this weekend. But otherwise, we would. That's one of the reasons
you this
that
time and not me, so I'm happy.
That's the reason we covered last night. We covered, or not last night. It was Wednesday, wasn't it? It was Wednesday, the one that got freaking deleted. I was asking about rifle training and different things that we need to mention because it'll be rained out. Our range day will, and I'll have to do a class, and I think I'm gonna do a rifle class and go over some things. Pat says he wants a coach shotgun. Those are fun, especially if you get into like a Cowboy 3-gun or something like that. Pretty awesome. The old lever shotguns also are cool for that. Let's see, GC610. Yeah, GC610 in the house there. Okay, cool. Didn't see him sneak in. I said that the Winchester 101 is a current production shotgun, over and under shotgun. I am familiar. I have not seen one, been able to lay hands on one or shoot one yet, but I am familiar with that. I haven't seen one in person. I've seen pictures. And then Gary says he thinks that the Winchester 101 is made in Belgium. And I'm going to say, going back to what I said earlier, I don't think they make one in the U.S. Probably. Pant says, sporting clays in a hurricane? Sounds like a challenge. Yeah.
No, that's more like challenge accepted. I'll try it out.
Well, the only thing that bothers me about this hurricane, not to get off topic, but, we've got plenty of time, is that, that northeastern section is usually the one that's bad for like the rain and the tornadoes and crap. And that's where I sit right now. So depending on where it moves and how it goes, and the projected path, it's supposed to kind of follow the coast a little bit and go back into the ocean a little bit and mess around. And so as long as it doesn't just barrel its way on up into Texas, then more than likely we'll probably be okay. We'll see a little rain, probably won't see a whole lot of wind or anything like that off of it. So we'll see.
I got hit by the hurricane last year that hit South Carolina.
We got we had a good question here I seen, and then we got off on it. John Z says he never understood what a choke was or what it actually does. And then Cycle Camp, of course, answered him, and he says it restricts the diameter at the end of the bore to tighten the pattern of the shot.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much, yeah, that's exactly what it does. And the thing about it is, it's not that much constriction. I mean, you think about it being, I mean, it's in like thousandths of an inch, constriction. You've got your cylinder bore, and then you go from there into the improved cylinder, the skeet from there, I think, isn't it? And then improved cylinder, and then light, modified, improved, modified. There's like a zillion chokes out there. There really are. There's only a few that's standard when you buy a new shotgun. Like I said earlier, you'll get 3, 4, maybe 5. But especially if you get out and you get serious about it and you start looking into them, I mean, they make a ton of different size chokes. So, and it's weird because the pattern that you get from that choke, that's another thing. It's not really, yes, it will, the constriction on it will tighten up that pattern. It'll put more shot into the area there, and make it tighter at a longer distance. So let's say you're shooting something 20 yards away, 25, 30 yards away. Well, okay, you're going to get most of that shot onto a 30 by 30 inch board. I use like craft paper, butcher paper or something, 30 by 30 inch. And that's usually what I use to pattern. And then I'll get out 25, 30 yards, shoot, and then I'll just back up. As you back up away from that target, obviously that pattern is going to widen out. So you want to constrict, obviously you want to constrict that choke. You want a tighter choke, more constriction, to make that pattern smaller at a further distance. Now, the drawback to that is that you're going to have to be fairly dead on accurate if you're shooting something up close and you have a really tight choke. So that's why people tend to, especially with skeet, they use a pretty wide choke, a skeet choke, which is just right above a cylinder bore. And that's what they use. So just to kind of elaborate on the whole choke thing a little bit. But again, it makes a difference too. Like I said, even the slightest little bit of constriction can make a difference. And from shotgun to shotgun, even the same make and model, it can vary as well. I've seen that happen. I've seen folks that, one brand or maybe one step up on the choke actually patterns a little better for them on their shotgun than somebody that's got the exact same shotgun, So it's something that you really need to, a lot of people will buy a shotgun and they don't ever pattern their chokes. And I don't understand that. But that's the way you do it. Like I said, get back 20, 30 yards. Just go get you some craft paper. You can get it at Walmart or whatever. And you might not get 30 inches. And if you can't get it 30 inches wide, I'll tell you what, here is what you get. And we're coming up on that time, unfortunately, over half the year's over. On sale clearance wrapping paper, dude. That would be the way to go. Get some on clearance, wrapping paper after, Christmas. That's fairly wide, and then just cut it off in a square and tack it up to your target board. And then what I usually do is I usually draw kind of like the shape of an eye, if you were drawing an eye, and I don't know how you like two semicircles or 2 half circles or something together, kind of in the middle. About the size of a clay, because you don't want a round circle in the middle, because you're not ever going to be shooting a clay or something like this. So you want it of it. And color that in black. Use a Sharpie, color that in black. And then get back, like I said, start 25, 30 yards, fire it, and then just keep backing up and figuring out how it patterns. Because some shotguns, it may go high left, may go high right, who knows? Typically, especially if you're shooting clays, usually you want a little more shot above the barrel, or above the target, I should say, than below. You want about 60 above and about 40 below. And Cycle Camp out there, he may disagree, but that's usually what everybody in the circles I run with, what they agree on.
Okay, well, what about I've been looking, at maybe getting some slugs. Now, I've been looking that, you have rifled chokes, you got rifled slugs, and then you have, non-rifled slugs. I mean, I've looked at the choke. My shotgun doesn't have a choke. I can't use chokes on it because it's been modified. It's what we call the armless special. So you get it off armless. The barrel's been cut to 19 inches.
Been cut back, yeah. So it's actually at true bore. That's what you're saying.
Yeah. So I can't use a choke.
A good gunsmith can thread that and put rim chokes or whatever in it. I've seen it done a bunch of the time. I've seen old shotguns, especially old Browning A5s and stuff like that. And I've seen good gunsmiths that have went in and threaded that out, and those guys be able to use chokes.
I'm not going to spend that much money on a shotgun that I only spent like $100 on.
Gary over on Gun Channels, he said Mossberg has an over and under also. The Mossberg, was it the Silver Pigeon, the Silver Reserve? Those are made, last I checked, those are made in Turkey, which is what Gary said. Oh, heck, they're made in Turkey. Yeah. Interesting thing about that is the Yildiz that we shoot. I've got several of those. You lay them out with a Mossberg, and other than the refinement part of them, they're pretty close. The wood really is not the same quality. The engraving stuff is not really the same quality. I guess the fit and finish is not really the same. And they're obviously not the same. The parts are different inside. But the way that they operate internally is, and everything is pretty close to the same. And for a long time, I wondered if they're not in two separate ends of the same factory over there in Turkey, pumping those things out. Yeah. Pat says his 76-87 Wingmaster has a permanent modified choke and a 28-inch barrel. And that's pretty standard, pretty common on that. And that would be a good shotgun for sure. The older stuff is nice. I mean, I'm not a big Remington guy, but if I was gonna go Remington, I would want to go older for sure. Pants says he'd have to change the barrel to change the choke, and not necessarily. It's like we were just talking about is, a good gunsmith can thread it and get you to where you can put chokes in it. I've seen it done. Cycle says he has a 20 gauge Silver Reserve. So he says the chokes are weird and hard to find, and that's true of a lot of different shotguns. Cycle, so it's not just that one.
How much experience do you have of black powder?
Me, black powder shotgun or just black powder in general?
Yeah, because I've seen them. I haven't used any, but I've seen black powder shotguns. I thought about getting one. What do you think?
I've got a couple. I've got some old ones that obviously shoot, black powder shot shells,
Right.
And then, but are you talking muzzle loaders? What you're talking about?
Yeah,
muzzle loaders?
Muzzle.
Yeah. They're pretty cool. I mean, the one I got is I think it's a modified fixed choke. You're not going to find one with removable chokes, I don't think. But they're pretty cool because you can basically just jam anything you want down the barrel. you know. And loading them is pretty neat because you you really don't measure. Your powder is pretty much done by volume. So what you do is you basically figure out how much shot you're going to shoot. And like if it's what I do is I take an old shotgun shell. I don't have an old shotgun shell sitting around here close. Dang it. But I take an old shotgun shell, and then I will weigh out like one and a what am I even thinking? 1 1/8, is it 1 1/8? 1 1/4, 1 1/8. What's standard? Anyway, I think it's 1 1/8, 1 ounce. Let's say 1 ounce, okay? Because there's 1 ounce loads out there.
Okay.
I'll take it. I'll measure out my shot, whatever it might be, like 1 1/8 ounce, right? And then I'll pour it in this empty shotgun hole. And then I take an X-Acto knife and I cut it to where it's just right there, and the shot fills it completely up. You know what I'm saying? It's got no overlap. Okay,
right.
Like it completely fills the volume of that shell. And then I've actually got one of those in my range bag for my black powder stuff. And then all you have to do is you dip that shot shell and fill it full of powder and dump it in and go with a wad, and then you dip it in your shot and you pour it in, and then you go with an overshot wad and prime it and let it rip, you know. And you essentially could stuff anything you want in it, you know, whatever. I mean, you could put
Within
rocks or
reason,
gravel or do what?
Within reason, I assume.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, you can do that with a shot shell too. Just pretty much cut them open and put whatever you want in them. So, oh man, the chat just got weird on me. There we go. Rooster says different shells will pattern different. In the second choke, even the same shot size. Yes, they will. Absolutely. It will happen. John C. What does John C. say? C says, "Hey, Ghost Tactical, you're so quiet." Yeah, he's on. You come in. Yeah, John come in late. Yeah, Ghost is out of town or on vacay or in what stays in Vegas happens in Vegas stays in Vegas or something. I don't know where he's at, but anyway, he let me hijack for tonight. So you're not going to hear from Ghost Tactical. And then John asked any word on mine. There is no word on my stuff. The last I heard, I went over to the Creator Studio part where it had the live streams, and it actually says underneath that I got a copyright strike. But if I go into my channel settings, it says I've got a community strike. So I'm all kind of confused at this point. I don't know what the deal is. So hopefully from the research I've done the last couple of days, it seems that a lot of people experience this kind of thing, and it's some type of a glitch or AI or algorithm issue of some sort that something hung on. Could have been caused by the music if it was copyright strike, but it's a thing to where it's not recognizing that music is in the YouTube library, you know, to use for free. So I don't know. I'll just keep hijacking until we get it figured out. I don't know what else to do.
Yeah, get ghost striked instead.
There you go. Let's see. What do we got? We got a lot going on over here.
I know. I'm kind of enjoying our shotgun chat.
Michael Kemp says he's talking to John Z, and he says 2 chokes in a double barrel gun, over and under, side by side, not a single barrel gun. Yes, right. And that's one of the perks of a double barrel, and why I like, especially on sporting clays, because you'll get to a stage and, you know, there'll be a line. Most of the time you can't just walk right up there. So you get a peek at it and you have a little bit of time before you have to shoot, and there'll be 2 shots, and the way that they're throwing them, good Lord, by the time you get on that second clay, dude, it's out there. And, you know, you might be running a skeet choke, and that's cool for that first shot, but you got to have something to tighten that pattern to really get out there for that second shot. So if you've got it over and under, you can do that, you know. But it's kind of hard to shoot a true pair, you know, and change chokes in between pulling the trigger. It just don't. If you can do that, you need to make YouTube videos, because we would love to see that kind of thing going on.
Love to see it.
Right. Um, let's see. Cycle Samp says 1 1 1/8 is a dram weight for the shot, not a slug. Yeah. 1 1/8 ounce. Usually it's 3 dram. I think on the 1 8 ounce load, it's 3 dram, which is the black powder equivalent, if I'm correct on that, and I think I am. Sergeant Sharp in the house got a good one. He says, "Everyone, what is your dream gun?" So definitely throw those out there. Man, I don't know because I love them all. It's hard for me since we're talking shotgun. Since we're Since we're talking shotguns, a Blazer shotgun. That's just simply because we're talking shotgun, because that's a question, Sharp, that honestly changes probably every second of every minute of every hour of every day of every week of every year. So, there's always something new or different, or shotgun. Just depends on where my mind's at.
Okay, so, I'm not gonna go with the AA-12 like everybody else does. I'm gonna go a little more old school. The Pancor jackhammer.
Well, there you go.
You've seen that one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I like that one.
Let's see. Man, the chat is bumping.
They're enjoying shotgun chat. I'm telling you.
Cyclestep, he says he won't pay. I won't pay $1,100 for a $450 gun. I'm not sure what they're talking about there.
I don't blame him.
But yeah, I wouldn't pay
$800 for a Sporter Rise.
Oh, gun. He's talking about a Mac 90.
Yeah,
y'all are way off on a Mac 90, dude. We're talking shotguns. What's going on? Sharp says he has an M1911, an M9, 44 mag, Red ARX 160. His pistols. Cool. Don't see anything wrong with any of those. Just looking over the list, so that's a pretty good one. What else we got here? Cycle Camp says if he could own one dream shotgun, be a Benelli with all 3 barrels, the 410, the 20, and the 12. Ooh. That's a good one. That's a good one. No sense. If you're going to dream big. That's what I say. So,
all right. How about this one?
And Grandma agrees. So,
how about the older Remington 8770 MCS, the modular combat system, where it has an 8-inch barrel, a 14, and then the standard 18?
Yeah.
That one, I'd like to have one of those too.
All right, now Ralph's throwing out some German I can't pronounce. I don't even want to butcher that.
Let me see.
If I was like, he's over on Gun Channel. If I was like, private or something, I'm going to butcher that.
Sturmgewehr.
Yeah. Sturmgewehr. Yeah.
Sturmgewehr. W in German is a V. So
it's a V. Yes, I know. But depending on, G's are weird depending on where they come in the word too. So
when they're talking about a gun, it's always a Gewehr.
Kind of like Farfignugan.
Farfignugan. So. Yes.
Who knows? From shotguns to pistols to now Volkswagens.
When he says Sturmgewehr, he means like the STG 44.
Right. Yeah. Right. So we are up against the hour. So let me grab Edge's link for you guys right quick here. Where did I put Edge's link? Here we go. I ain't heard from it. I don't know. I'm gonna throw his link. I'm gonna throw Edge's link out here, guys. He hasn't sent me anything. Is he on? Let me look and see.
I don't see him on right now.
But that doesn't mean he's not gonna come on later. So there's no sense in not plugging him and saying, here's where you get to him if in the event he comes on. But yeah, I don't see him now. I see HBS out there. I don't see him in the chat here, but I do see him. He's got Z's. So, and he's usually on and Grand too. Did I see Grand earlier? I seen Grand somewhere, it seemed like. And both of those are.
Was that on last week?
Yeah, I think he came on late. Maybe seems like. Sometimes he does that. Sometimes I don't know if he gets hung up or what. Raph says over on Gun Channels, he says that cheap Chinese shotgun looks cool. Yeah, yeah. And it's on sale. Yeah, no kidding. I mean, yeah, for $139.99. Yeah, where's that link? It's in the private here. Let me grab it. Let me grab this link, guys. Go check out this shotgun. And, we're definitely not pushing or promoting this, but yeah,
I'm
for that
looking at
price,
getting one.
For that price and the cool factor of how it looks alone, I would be really tempted to pick one up.
And the fact that it's a semi-automatic 12 gauge for 139 as
Right.
well. 12 gauge semi-auto shotguns usually go for like well above like what's it, $300 or $400.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Minimum.
Yeah.
So.
Well, yeah. I think pretty much. I mean,
for a
beater.
For a good one, new. For a good one, I think it's like the cheapest you can find these days is like $500.
Yeah. No. I mean, I totally agree. Okay, so we got Edge out there, and now I'm gonna throw, because I'm running on Ghost's channel. I'm gonna throw my channel link back out there because I know we got some new folks that came into the house late. And with that, we're gonna wrap her up and shut her down, I believe. I want to again thank Ghost, even though he's not here, for letting me hijack his channel. Hopefully, I will have everything figured out by next week. I want to thank Night Strike for jumping in and talking shotguns, which is awesome. Go ahead.
Thanks for having me.
Plug it, Night Strike. Plug it.
Don't miss Hit or Miss Tuesday nights, 9:00, and videos now. Apparently, I'm doing videos.
Awesome. There you go. Okay, guys.
Quality,
that is it. Right. That is it. We will hopefully everything will work out, and I will see you guys on my channel come next week. Be safe this weekend. If you're in Texas, try to dodge that hurricane as much as you can. If you need a place to stay, I've got some outbuildings. We can throw some hay down for you, so come see me. Everybody be good. Bye.